Hi, my name is Adam Nimoy, and I'm the author of My Incredibly Wonderful, Miserable Life. How would I describe my life in 8 words? I never honk at people who can't drive. When you're raised on sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and you take out the drugs, sex and rock and roll must expand to fill the space allotted. And I tried to fill that empty space with chocolate, but it doesn't work. Seriously, the most important thing I want our readers to take away from reading my book is that we all need to recover from something in order to move on with our lives. It's not just limited to recovery from drugs and alcohol. And in my case, I also had to recover from the failure of my marriage and the disintegration of my directing career. And most importantly for me, a recovery from what at times was a pretty difficult relationship with my father, which was further complicated by the enormity of his celebrity. My favorite occupation when I'm not writing is teaching, because I teach filmmaking at the Film Academy. And by that I mean I teach writing, acting, directing, and editing, because for me, visual storytelling is like the stuff of life. It's such a great art form to be working in. And it's a collaborative art form, and the people involved in filmmaking get to bring all that they've experienced in their lives to bear when we're creating film, and which is a very exciting process. Generally in my class, I teach 3 things: story, story, and story. Actually, there's a lot of emphasis on story, but after that, I teach performance and I teach the technical aspect of filmmaking, because in the end, there are a lot of filmmakers who have a lot of technical expertise in Hollywood, but good storytellers, I really believe, are in short supply. So that's what I emphasize in my classes. And also, I would more quickly forgive a bad camera angle much faster than I would ever forgive weak story in a film or a weak performance. And to keep all these elements going, filmmakers and the talent involved in making film have to strive to be in the moment every minute that the camera is rolling. And on the one hand, it's a very exciting process. On the other hand, it takes a lot of focus and concentration. Before teaching filmmaking, I directed about 45 hours of 1-hour dramas in the television market. And before that, I practiced entertainment law for 7 years. I would define perfect happiness as bird wings, which is the title of one of the chapters in my book. And by that I mean that when my kids are happy and in a good place, so am I. Tell you a good piece of gossip about being the son of Star Trek legend Leonard Nimoy. I can't really think of something offhand, but I do want to say that I've been watching reruns of the original series, and I'm pretty much convinced that Spock attracted just as many hot alien women as did Kirk, maybe even more so. I was pretty lucky in that basically I was a pothead. I abused marijuana. I wasn't into meth. I wasn't a crackhead. I wasn't a junkie. And the point of the story, I don't think, was about my harrowing life on marijuana. That's really not the point. I think, like many other people, I was simply trying to find a way to fill a big hole in my life. And the fact is, I needed to get past that kind of behavior if I wanted to grow emotionally. I think a lot of people have that experience, whatever they're using. We all use for very similar reasons. That's been my experience in 12-step. It's just a matter of degree. And and I don't mean to belittle what other people go through, because it's much more difficult when you're dealing with narcotics. I think that's pretty clear. But going through this process of recovery and talking about my own addiction and my own recovery led me to realize that it's not just drugs and alcohol that I had to recover from. There were many other obstacles and shortcomings in my life that I needed to get through and move on from and grow from in order just to evolve as a human being. It's an anti-memoir because it doesn't really follow a linear chronological narrative. You know, the book is basically a collection of short stories or vignettes about my life, and they jump around from my divorce to my recovery from drugs and alcohol to staying connected to my children as a divorced parent. And then there are stories about trying to recreate my social life and my professional life. And then interspersed through the whole book are all these flashbacks to episodes of growing up in the 60s and struggling to find a balanced relationship with my dad. So there are just lots of bits and pieces that are interspersed throughout the book, and you sort of have to get through all of that to get a sense of what's going on with me. I think writing this book has been a very positive force in my life because it's been very satisfying just on a creative level to go through the process of putting the pieces together and then seeing it, in a finished edition of a book that can be put out in the world. It's very satisfying for me.